So at this point, we need to fill in the other 3 triangles. So I'm going to use the rotate tool, double click on the rotate tool. For angle, type in 180. So we want to flip the triangle 180 degrees around and then copy it. So what we've got is, now using the direct selection tool, I'm going to now move that shape into place. So using the Option key, if you don't have all of the points selected, you should at this point, but if you didn't, you could Option click on it and then click and then drag into place. So then I'm going to Option click, drag, and then again Option click and then drag until I've got all my triangles. So at this point, I should be able to select all of the triangles and set the stroke to none and the fill to black. So we could do that a couple of different ways. So I could deselect and then click and then drag to create this marquee that selects all of the triangles on the artboard. Another way to do this might be to, if I was to click and deselect everything, if I press Command A, that is the command to select all the objects that are visible. Because those are all the objects that I have created and the guides are turned off, that will be fine. So I can also find that under the Edit menu. Select all, or sorry, Object menu. And I think it's there, but I can't remember where it is. All right, we'll just come back to that. So at this point, I've got all my triangles selected, and I can go to the color menu or the swatch menu. So let's use the swatch menu and then choose fill and then change that to black. Then I can click on the stroke color and then choose none. So the other way I could do that, if I just undo what I just did, Command Z and Command Z, instead of doing that, I could just as easily use the color selector in the tool palette over on the left-hand side, click on fill, make sure that's none, and then swap fill and stroke by clicking on this little icon, or you can click type in Shift X. So clicking on that, now we have the colors swapped. So we have a fill of black and a stroke of none. Perfect. So I can deselect that, and now I can select each triangle individually and using the color palette set the CMYK values for each triangle according to the values in the diagram on page 6. So if you don't have this diagram in front of you, I'll just try to go through this step by step. So we'll start with triangle 1 at the top. Go to the color palette and you'll see that we have the CMYK values here. If you don't have the CMYK values for the fill color, you should click on fill and then click on the options menu and make sure you have the right color mode selected for the colors that you're creating. So you might have RGB instead. Just make sure you've got CMYK selected instead. So the first color is going to be red. We change cyan to 0, magenta to 100, yellow will be 100%, and then black will be 0. So now we have our red. So we can go down to square or triangle 2, and this one is going to be orange. So what we're doing is recreating Josef Albers' color triangle. And so what we end up doing is creating primary colors on the outermost triangles, and then as you go into the inside, you're getting to the secondary and tertiary colors. So the first set of colors, oh, I see, I've got this all sort of set up wrong in the chart. I'm realizing I've labeled primary, secondary, and tertiary the wrong colors. Anyway, we can fix that later. For now, triangle 2 is going to be orange. So that's going to be 0 cyan, 75 magenta, 100% yellow, and 0 black. Great. Triangle 3 is going to be yellow. So we can enter 30% magenta, just to make it a warmer yellow, 100% yellow, and 0% black. So now that's coming along. Triangle 4 is going to be green. So that's 100 cyan, 30 magenta, 100 yellow, and 0 black. Triangle 5 is blue, so that will be 100 cyan, 50 magenta, 0 yellow, and 0 black. Triangle 6 is going to be violet. That is 75% cyan and 100% magenta. 0% yellow, 0% black. Great. So now triangle 7, that's going to be purple. 50% cyan, 75% magenta, 50% yellow, and 0% black. Triangle 8 is mustard. So 30% yellow, 40% magenta, and 80% yellow, 0% black. Triangle 9 will be forest green, 80% cyan, 50% magenta, 80% yellow, and 15% black. So there, if we turn off our guides, we can see clearly our color triangle. And that's that. Hopefully you've been able to follow along. Next we'll be doing our Artboard 2, recreating Johannes Itten's color star in 4-color process.